Hey, it is Lieutenant Skip with Earn My Badge. I'm here today to talk to you about one of the comments from one of our subscribers here at the channel. And this gentleman is having some difficulties getting hired on by departments. And it's something that maybe many of you are feeling. So I want to make a video about this, and I think it can really help the group, the followers, the subscribers understand some of the dynamics that go into police hiring and what to do if you find yourself in this situation. So this subscriber has paid for his academy. So he's gone through a post academy, he's paid for it on his own, and then he's applied for departments. He's got college education and he is still having a hard time getting hired. That's going to be the first set of things that we're going to look at. So he went and got his post certification. That is great. That actually opens you up to a lot of smaller departments. Again, the way you get your post certification comes in one of three ways. Number one, you go through an academy that is sponsored or in-house with the department. So let's say if you look at LAPD, their academy is in-house. So you get hired and then you go into their academy. Second way is that you go through a post academy. So you're going to be reaching out to a community college or a regional academy, and you will go through that academy. And from there you have two options. Option one is that you pay for it yourself, so you're paying out of pocket to attend that post academy. Option number two is that you've been hired by a department and they are paying for you to attend that academy. And then once you graduate, you go back to that sponsoring agency and you start your field training with them. In the first option, where you pay out of pocket, now you've got your certification to become a police officer, but now you have to go out and apply for agencies, or apply with agencies to get hired. So that's where this subscriber is in. One of the things that he also mentioned is that he had applied to a significant amount of departments. In this situation, I think it was up to 30 different agencies. And this is one of the things I caution about. There are a couple different trains of thoughts on this, but this is what I believe, is that we have to be very focused in which agencies we apply to, and not do the typical application spray and pray method that you'd find in private industry, right? For instance, if you come out of law school or you come out of a business degree, they encourage you to start sending applications. And it's just a matter of numbers. The more applications you get out, the more interviews you get, the better chances you have of getting hired. Well, with law enforcement, it's a lot more complicated than that. When you start to go through an application process, you start digging down into you. Right? So co-workers, previous employers, friends, your driving records, your polygraphs, all these different things. And the more you do that, the more errors that can come to the surface. What I mean is that if you go through a polygraph exam, and maybe the first time you're fine, you don't get hired. The second time you go to another agency, you don't get hired, but no issues. The third time you go to an agency, maybe this polygrapher has some issues or concerns. It's all about some of the interpretation and the individual polygrapher, right? Or the same thing with the police psychologist, where what they believe or what they interpret can affect you. And the more people you go and see, the more varied opinions you get about you. And then when you go through an application process with a department and you get denied, they will reach out to the original agency and see what you got disqualified for. So this keeps on happening over and over and over again, and sometimes it can snowball, and it just really can put you off on a bad footing. Additionally, agencies, departments, they really understand that you're trying to get hired on, but at the same time, they're looking for loyalty. They're looking for people who will stick with their department and actually really want to be a part of their department. So at the end of the day, when you've applied to 30 agencies, how can you sit in front of them and say, hey, you are the people I want to work for. I believe in your agency, the difference that you are making in the community, and I want to be a part of that. You can say that, but then the actions of 30 other departments you've applied to stand out as well. So that's another way that it can really affect your standing, your grounding as an applicant in that pool. The next thing that the subscriber mentioned is that they are in the security field. And you know what? I worked in that industry myself. I did corporate security, and I worked around contract security agents, officers, different companies. So I understand that environment. It is challenging. There is a lot of turnover. There are contracts with the employer that are lost, things like that. So it is a challenging dynamic to deal with. And that's one of the things he mentioned, is that, you know what, there's a lot of turnover, there's a lot of space in between jobs, things like that. So that is one of the things that can raise a red flag with an agency, is your employment history. So the longer you have an employer, the better. Because what they don't want is they don't want to hire someone who has a history of changing jobs from one company to another every year and a half. Because they are looking for people who are going to be with their department for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So if you are in that situation, a couple things to look at is, okay, what can I do to really prolong my employment at one employer? And if that's not possible, let's say you are working for a security company and you have different locations, maybe those contracts have been lost or you've been moved to another location. It's going to be how you explain your job history. So maybe it's still saying you've been employed with ABC Security, but these are the different locations. And because of that type of work, you were going from one location to another. They were contract jobs, they were seasonal jobs, whatever you can do to give some context about your job history, why there's so much maybe movement, but do what you can as well to try to prolong that employment with that employer. So I hope this helps. I really believe that a lot of people may find at least one or two things in common with this video, what this subscriber is going through. And I just want to take a few minutes to help you out and hopefully give you some ideas on what you can do. Good luck.